Physics Hub. Today is Monday, so you know that we generally upload the Sunday set video on every Sunday, but nowadays every day is like Sunday. So whether it's Sunday or Monday, it doesn't matter. So let's start today's Sunday set video. Now before starting today's Sunday set video, I would like to tell you that Physics Hub is now on Unacademy. You can attend our free special live classes on Academy. We take classes on every Monday, Wednesday and Friday from 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So you can attend those classes for free. You just have to install the Unacademy Learning app and you can attend those free classes. Okay, so without any further delay, let's start today's set video. So first question of this set. So I would like to tell you that this question comprises of 5 questions from particle physics section. Okay, so the first question reads like this: the quark content of lambda naught baryon is, okay, and you are given 4 options. So what do we know about lambda naught baryon? So it has some charge q equals to 0. Okay, now in the options you are given 3 quarks u, d and s. For the up quark, we know the charge for the up quark is 2/3 plus 2/3 e. For the round quark, the charge is minus 1/3 e, and the strange quark, the charge is minus 1/3 e. Now another thing which you know about this lambda naught is this is a strange particle. So it has strangeness s equals to -1. So among the quark composition, lambda naught will must have one s quark. Okay, so option A can be easily discarded. So we are left with 3 options. So among those 3 options, if you take u ds, okay, then the sum of the charge u ds, u plus 2/3 e, d minus 1/3 e, and s is minus 1/3 e. So you get a 0 charge. So which is in conformity with q equals to 0, and here one s is also there, so s equals to -1. These 2 conditions are held. So the correct option is option C. Okay, so the quark content of lambda naught is u, d and s. Now without any further delay, let's move forward to the next question. The second question reads like this: consider a high energy collision pp prime and k prime p. Okay, p prime and k prime p. Now we have to find out the cross section, ratio of cross section, sigma k p prime divided by sigma p prime. Okay, so how can I do that? So you know that proton contains 3 quarks. Okay, proton contains 3 quarks. Let's say the quark is represented like this, and k bar contains 2 quarks. Okay, now if we consider a proton and antiproton collision, then these 3 quarks will be colliding with these 3 quarks. Okay, so for one quark we see that this is one collision, where then this is one collision, this is one collision. So for one quark there will be 3 such collisions. So the number of collisions in total number of collisions in pp prime becomes 3 for one, for the other 3, then 3, this is 9. Okay, for each quark there will be 3, so 3 plus 3 plus 3. Now for this k prime p, k prime has 2 quarks and p has 3 quarks. So for this k prime p, total number of collisions will be, for one quark there will be 3 such collisions. Okay, so 3, and for another one plus 3, so 6. Therefore the ratio of their cross section will be 6 by 9, so 2 by 3, and it is matching with option A. So option A is the correct option. Okay, now without any further delay, let's move forward to the next question, question number 3. Okay, the question number 3 reads like this: assume that pion nucleon scattering at low energies in which isospin is conserved is described by the effective interaction potential V effective of R, that is equals to f of R I pi dot in. Okay, where f of R is a function of the radial separation R, and I pi and in denote respectively the isospin vectors of pions and the nucleons. So we have to find out the ratio sigma at I equals to 3 by 2 and sigma at I equals to half. Okay, of the scattering cross section corresponding total isospin I equals to 3 by 2 and half. So you have been given this, so we can write the total isospin I equals to I pi plus In. Okay, isospin of the pion and isospin of the neutron. Now these are basically vector quantities. So you know that we can write this I square equals to I pi square plus I n square plus twice into I pi dot I n. Okay. Now from here we can easily find out I pi dot I n, because in the expression of V effective R we have I pi dot I n. So we have to derive this I pi dot I n. That will be basically half I square minus I pi square minus I n square. Okay. So your V effective of R becomes f of R in by 2 into I square minus I pi square minus I n square. Okay, where this I equals to root over I into I plus 1 h hat. Fine. Now we have to determine this. So how are we going to determine that? I pi, isospin of pion is 1, you know. Okay, and isospin of neutron is half. And your I can be varied from I pi minus I n to I pi plus I n. Okay, so it can be it will have value half or 3 by 2. I take an I pi equals to 1 and I n equals to half, you get I pi minus I n to I pi plus I n will be half and 3 by 2. So scattering cross section sigma is proportional to V effective of R mod square. Okay, so now putting the value of I equals to 3 by 2 once to find out sigma at I equals to 3 by 2. So it becomes f of R mod square by 2, 3 by 2 into 3 by 2 plus 1 minus 1 into 1 plus 1 minus half into half plus 1 mod square h hat to the power 4, and sigma at I equals to 3 by 2 similarly it becomes f of R mod square f of R by 2 mod square into 15 by 4 minus 2 minus 3 by 4 square h hat to the power 4. Okay. So if you take the ratio, then it will become sigma at I equals to 3 by 2 and sigma I equals to half, it becomes 1 by 4. So the correct option is option B. Now let's move forward to the next question, the question number 4, the mean lifetime of the following decade. Okay, you are given 3 decades, they satisfy which of the following options. So for the characteristic time for strong electromagnetic and weak interactions are 10 to the minus 23 second, 10 to the minus 21 second and 10 to the minus 11 second. Now for the first reaction, pi naught to pi plus and pi minus is strong interaction with tau means characteristic time is 10 to the minus 23 second. For the second reaction, pi naught to gamma plus gamma is electromagnetic interaction with characteristic time 10 to the minus 21 second, and for the last reaction, mu minus to E minus plus nu E bar plus nu mu is weak interaction with characteristic time 10 to the minus 11 second. And so tau of rho less than tau of pi less than tau of mu. So correct option is option C. Let's move forward to the next question. In a classical model, a scalar of spin 0 meson consists of a quark and an antiquark bound by a potential V of R given by AR plus B by R square, where A is given, B is also given. If the mesons of quark and antiquark are negligible, the mass of the meson can be estimated as approximately. So in a classical model, a scalar meson consists of quark and antiquark and potential is given to you. So bound state corresponds to the minimum potential energy. So in that case, del V del R equals to 0 and del square V by del R square is greater than 0. So from del V del R equals to 0, we take the derivative with respect to R, we get to find the values of R to be plus minus root over B by A. So among these, at R equals to plus B by A, we see that del square V by del R square is greater than 0. So that will corresponds to minimum potential energy. So by putting R equals to root over B by A, we get the minimum potential energy to be 200 root 2 MeV. This is the total energy of the meson because the mesons are spinless. Therefore, the mass according to E equal to mc square, we get mass equals to energy by c square, means it becomes 283 MeV by c square. So correct option is option B. So in today's set video, we have discussed 5 solutions from particle physics. And so if you have any query, question or confusion, you can comment down below, and if you are any visitor of this channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Finally, thanks for watching.